Hello, a very good evening to all of you. So, welcome to my channel again, and this is my third video for this channel. And today I am going to talk about steps in conducting research, and basically, my topic for today's talk will be based around what are the stages of conducting research, and preferably, this video is helpful for those people who engaged in very initial stage of doing their research and often face the problem what should be the inclusion within the PhD synopsis or within the MA synopsis, because now in our NEP draft we have scrapped out the MPhil, so there is much possibility that we will be having MA as thesis based. So of course we need a draft before going into that thesis project, and this draft will be very helpful for all of us to understand that what should be that kind of a framework, or whether we do have any structure, any presupposed framework before delving ourselves into this process of a systematic gathering of the data, whether that data is secondary or a primary data doesn't matter, but also this is a systematic process, and of course there is a kind of a systematic framework which is working in the background of this process of doing research. So often in social sciences, whenever we meet either in conferences, either in organizations, or either we are meeting or having a day to day talk, most of the time which I feel my conversations with my juniors and my contemporaries at JNU and outside JNU is that often they do not know what to write, and how to go about this PhD synopsis structure. They may be very much knowing about the idea of doing research, about collection of books, articles, newspaper articles, magazines, and other materials, maybe from the website digitally, or maybe going to the libraries and accessing the books. But apart from that, when it comes to writing down these things in that manner where you are presenting this in front of your faculty, that is a problematic stage for most of the contemporaries as well as my juniors. And as we know that there is no set manual, just like we have in natural sciences, to conduct our social sciences research. Every textbook, every material whichever is there on internet, on widespread digital world, it is almost most of the time confusing us with different sort of information, but not telling us what should be. If we talk about any sort of a relative ideal of writing down about our research, we don't have that sort of a things going on in our social sciences. Of course there are books nowadays published by Sage which are talking about steps of conducting social research. We have Kenneth D Bailey book which has been referred a lot, and Tim May book which has been referred a lot when we are dealing with social science research methods, as well as when we are dealing with you know uh, way of conducting our research. But of course every textbook comes up with its own variation, and when we talk about research, research is something which is not understandable through one book, one article. This is something which is an ongoing process, very dynamic and flexible in nature. So all in all, this video is again my personal observation and again my personal dealing with research from past 7 to 8 years, and what I gathered while talking, while reading, and while experimenting with my own research. The main steps of writing down while you are presenting your synopsis, which can actually be used later on, and in most of the cases this has been the framework which has been referred to almost in most of the cases, we can say 90% cases or 95% cases. Now the first step is of course going into the literature. Most of the people think that review of literature and theoretical framework is something which comes after we analyze that what topic we need to work on and what is our actual central point we need to work on. Of course most of the things when we deal within our undergraduate level and within our postgraduate level while doing sociology, we do know that where our interest specifically lies, which is the particular concept or two or more concepts we need to analyze while doing our MPhil and PhDs. But going into the literature, reading the things which has been published on that particular concept is something which is making a lot of your synopsis into a particular way of thinking and developing your own sense of what you have to do and what already been published and worked in specific literature. So review of literature is different from reading about those things which are more or less related to your own concept or your own passion or on your own interest, which is lying down in this process of conducting social research. So the very first stage comes, of course, talking about your idea, talking about your research problem which you needs to conduct. But of course that comes up with that sort of a sense where you read a lot about that particular concept, or where you read things which are almost related to that concept or help you in developing a better understanding of that concept. It's not always about knowing what it is related to the particular concept, but it is also about knowing the process of what I do not want to do, what I do not wish to engage with. Most of the time, we all know as a researchers what are we going to do. But when the question comes into the picture that what we do not wish to do, most of the times we go blank in this sort of a question where we do not know where to limit ourselves, where we do not know where there is a boundary. Of course, knowledge generation and knowledge gathering is something which is limitless, but of course when we do our MA or PhD thesis, that is not only a degree oriented course but also a time oriented thing. We also need to put into the context that time is also an important dimension of completing our research and doing justice to a particular topic or a research statement whichever we are gathering. In most of the research textbooks, the first stage of conducting social research comes up with the idea of saying testing the hypothesis. Now most of the times we as social scientists do not go into testing the hypothesis because we deal with the social world and our world is very dynamic in comparison to the natural physical chemical world. And of course we don't go into those scientific terminologies. Earlier, maybe when positivism was at central stage, we might be using most of these medical or natural sciences terminology in sociology and anthropology, but we do not go by testing hypothesis. Our first step is analyzing any research statement or going about any research problem. What are we problematizing? How are we going to deal with a particular concept, and what are the question we are raising out of our passion, out of our interest in conducting our research? So before doing this first step, that is stating a research statement or problem, we need to talk about a overall idea, a generalized statement about whatever we have gathered while reading in relative or in absolute sense of this concept. After dealing with that, the second stage comes into the picture, that is formulating our theoretical or conceptual problem. Now, when we deal with the theoretical as well as the conceptual problem, this is something which is related to the concept, the specific concept you are talking about. For example, I am analyzing mobility and identity among scheduled castes. Now, I am taking those two communities among scheduled castes which have not been dealt much in the literature and analyzing their way of mobilizations. This was my research statement. We can say that the first step is about analyzing this kind of mobility and identity among those communities which have not been dealt really well, or their kind of mobilizations have not been much talked in the literature. Now coming to the second step about formulating conceptual framework or theoretical framework, I will talk about mobility and identity as two concepts. So mobility, I'll deal with the concepts which is, considered as one sociological concept, and identity as another sociological concept. Now, when we go about conceptual framework, most of the people have confusion that we have to read all and everything which ever been published on that. Of course, you can read anything on that particular concept, but you need to concise in that manner where you need to tell that a particular conceptual framework, how it is valid with your research statement, how it is justifying your research statement. If I am talking about schedule caste mobility and identity, of course my conceptual framework need to do justice with that kind of a research statement or question I am raising. It should not be that ki I would, put up all the theories which have been established in due course. I'm not dealing here, giving all the details of those things where, each and every aspect has been discussed, but rather the conceptual framework is to deal with how you are justifying a particular use of a theory or a conceptual framework when you are talking in relation with your own research statement that has been raised at first stage. Now, after dealing with this second stage of formulating a conceptual framework, you go into the research questions and objectives. Now, some people debate that questions come first and then the objectives formulated. Why this sort of a thing is been debated? Because, of course, you ask yourself questions: what, why, where, how I wish to conduct this research, and then you formulate objectives. Objectives are more abstract and more concretized in its terms, and questions are more generalized. Maybe one objective could be split into two or three questions. So that's why there is a debate going on in the social sciences, that some people say the questions comes first and then the objectives. However, some people do have one heading under which they write both of the things, objectives as well as questions. Now these objectives and questions are going into the detail and in depth of whatever you are analyzing, whatever you are dealing, or whatever you are going into each and every aspect of your research statement. Maybe one statement can be splitted into four or five objectives, and then again further splitted into eight questions. So four objectives can have eight research questions, because objectives is more abstract in nature and question is more elaborative in nature. Now, after that, some people do write about their statement of problem. Statement of problem is one or two paragraph which is stating your actual question, your actual concise point of view of conducting research, and where that problem lies within the literature. When you claim, like when I claim that, two communities, mobility and identity, have not been studied much, or their mobilization is different from other, you know communities, or if I'm saying that this is something which have a uniqueness of its own, so how I am problematizing that thing, where in this the literature, secondary literature, this problem lies, and from where actually I take up this point. So statement of problem would be dealing with that problematization of that research question, the main research question which you were raising in the stage 1. Other than that, we have a review of literature, another section within the stages of research. Review of literature is basically more elaborative and it is more used in a relative sense. Conceptual framework and review of literature have a difference. Conceptual framework is your concept, sociologically understanding of those concepts, and how you are using theories to understand them through your theoretical as well as empirical investigation. Literature of review is all the work published on that particular concept or related to that particular concept, which can have regional variations and which can have global variations. Probably your work is conducted in global south, but you can have a review of literature of global north. So mobility is not something which is studied only in India, but studied across globe. Conceptual framework can also go to across globe while dealing with conceptual theories, but it need to be concise and precise. Literature review is more elaborative in nature, and it is dealing with that relative sort of a question or relative sort of a nuanced procedure of writing whatever literature has been published. And then review of literature can have your articles, your newspapers, your magazines, your blogs, all that can be come into the review of literature. Lastly, we deal with the significance of the study. Most of the people fail to understand significance of the study and writing it down while writing your synopsis. It is a very important section of telling the reader or the examiner, or maybe in front of whom you are presenting your research, that why your research is sociological significant, why your research need to be studied, need to be read by the examiner and the reading community. Of course, when we talk about knowledge, that knowledge generation is not only because of us, that is also because of the readers, because of our audience, which do hold that importance in our life. If they do not read about it, if they do not comment about it, if they do not be critical about it, how are we going to know about how well our research is constitutive of? And also to tell very clearly what are the gaps which we are not dealing with. When we deal with sociological significance of a study, we do not only wish to tell what we are dealing with, but we also wish to tell what we are not dealing with. So this is something which is very important for all of the researchers to go about. And lastly, after significance of study, we talk about chapterization. It is each chapter, whatever we are dealing with in our MA and PhD thesis, talking it about while summarizing all the important content which that particular chapter is facing. So basically, our chapterization goes with introduction and then three or four core chapters. Maybe if you are dealing with three concepts, you can have one chapter each on one concept, and then lastly, the conclusion. So, in the process of writing, first we write about the core chapter, specifically if you are not doing the field related work, that is the MA thesis, which is more or less like MPhil thesis. More or less like secondary literature based. So then you wish to work on your core chapters first. Even in PhD we work on our core chapters, but before core chapters we have to analyze and interpret our field data. That is something which is additional in PhD thesis. And then we have a field data chapter in PhD thesis. Here we write about our core chapters, then we write about our introduction and then conclusion. So introduction maybe summarizes all the important points, and the stages which is starting from introducing your research with the generalized statement of what you are dealing and what are the important maybe sociological generalized statements about things, coming down to the level of conceptual framework, then questions and objectives, then talking about your literature review, then talking about your significance of study and chapterization. This is the common framework which mostly we use for synopsis. Simultaneously, we use it for introduction chapter of our MPhil and PhD thesis. Most of the studies would be having this framework. Now, when we talk about, of course, MA or PhD thesis. In PhD thesis, one important section within this research framework comes with methodology. Methodology, which is talking about that epistemological and ontological questions, along with the tools which are used to conduct our data and which is used to actually analyze or interpret the data or conducting the empirical investigation. We have only one additional section when we present our PhD synopsis, that is of methodology, talking about our field, talking about our tools, our instruments used for empirical investigation. Otherwise, all the things remain same. So this video is all in all talking about the steps in conducting research, and more preferably, dealing with how to write about it. Writing is something which me, you, I think all of the academic community has to suffer a lot, because saying and conversing is something which is very easy for us. But similarly, doing this writing thing for the same thing which verbally I said is something make me shattered or make me blank in the very first place. And also I would like to motivate and encourage all the people through this video that do not fear of while writing it down whenever you feel blank, and do not feel isolated and depressed whenever you feel that things are not going according to what you have thought about your research, about your conduction of research activity. Most of the times we often are isolated in our journey. We often do not meet our peers, we often do not engage in everyday conversations with them. Often people do not have time to talk about our researches and giving us that kind of a review. But never feel that research is something which is not reflecting on your mindset, even if it is making you blank. Blankness is a process which tells you that everything is going normal. If you do not feel blank, maybe that is not normal in a research process. But if you feel blank, if you feel wonder about or curious about your future, if you feel that writing your research is something very problematic, and I don't know, maybe you are feeling that sometimes you are not apt for, or you are not efficient or potential enough for conducting a research or writing down research, maybe in sociology and anthropology disciplines. But nothing is like that. Maybe thinking on all these things is a normal process of human activity. We do have anxieties, we do have curiosities while we talk about research and writing it down. Writing is not something which is uh, easy for any of us. We do feel blank sitting in front of our laptops. We do not feel that encouraged until unless we make ourselves forcefully sitting in front of our chapters and editing it. So all this process is very normal, and this video is in the sense of understanding what all the problems the juniors as well as the contemporaries, even me, you, whoever is facing across the globe. And this is something which is very inherent within the research activity, and this is something which is only understand with the standpoint of a researcher, because they are the one who have those lived experiences of going in details of each and every stage, and then coming at that stage of isolation and depressing about our own respective researches. So my urge through this video is, do not feel depressed, do not feel isolated. We all have to face the similar things while conducting our research. Research is not an easy cakewalk. For us as a research community, we know that there are very hidden truths which are dark truth and dark realities for us as researchers, and we have to taste our own cup of teas, and we will be tasting it by our own manner and by our own uniqueness and by our own respective identities. So all in all, we do have to respect ourselves, and we do have to respect our academic community, and we do have to make ourselves best in our field, so that our compassion and our development will also help in dwelling on our respective disciplines. Thank you.